story time on how I almost snatched a husband and found out he has a girlfriend. Okay, so basically, this boy has been my brother's friend ever since we were, like, really little, so I've known him for quite a long time. Okay, so he's been to my house, like, quite a few times, and since my brother have been friends for so long, like, it's, like, my parents don't care when he comes over, and he'll, like, stay for a couple nights, and, like, in, like, December, me and my best friend and I were sleepovers with my brother, and then, like, he had got thrown in my room, and they were like, oh, he likes you, and we're like, okay, whatever, like, and right now I'm just, like, mixing paint, but anyway, we, like, didn't really think that was true, because, like, but whatever, like, we didn't even care, so, but anyway, and then, like, it was, like, there was a bunch of baseball games going on, so I'd, like, go to the baseball games, and then I was sitting next to this boy who was, like, a year younger than me, and then this boy, he was, like, he had texted me, and he's, like, oh, he has risks, he, like, snatched you, whatever, stupid stuff. And I was like, no, because I didn't like that boy. I was sitting next to, and I was like, no. And then he's like, oh, then who's your crush? And I was like, I'm not. Why would I tell him it was him? And then basically he's like, oh, well, I'm gonna go home for a second, and then I'll, like, come back up there, and, like, you can tell me who. Because I was like, fine, I'll tell you. And he told me that, and I was like, okay, but you gotta tell me yours too. So he's like, okay, fine, whatever. So that had happened, and then I told him this fake, because I couldn't tell him who my crush was if it was him. So I, like, made this fake person, but it was actually just my AI on Snap, and I, like, flashed his Snap, and I was like, told him his name, told him he was, like, from the trap, because, like, my siblings raised him across. So then and he's like, oh, okay, then he showed me his, and, like, it was just this girl that was, like, in my brother's friend. My brother is 2 years older than him, and he's a year older than me, so I was like, And he was talking about how she lives, like, an hour away, and I was like, oh, okay, like, I wonder who that is. So anyway, I had gotten home, and this isn't weird or anything, but I, like, looked her up and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, she looks quite a bit older, right? Well, anyway, then a couple weeks later, my brother had a sleepover with him, and they came in my room, and they were just, like, sitting on my floor for, like, hours, and we were just all talking, watching a movie. And then they're like, here, hand me a pillow. And they were just, like, sitting on my floor, like, right over there. And they were talking, and they were in their blankets, and I was just sitting up on my bed, which is right there. And then they're like, oh, you should go get us snacks. And I was like, there is nothing to eat. So I went, and I knew this would be, I got the meat sticks, because that was the only thing I could find. But then when I was down there, I heard, like, some rustling around, so I didn't know what that was. And then I came back up here, and they were in my bed, taking up my whole bed. Well, my brother was taking up most of my bed. And then I went, and it was, like, the wall, and then my bed, and then my brother taking up most of the bed, and then him taking up a small amount of the bed. There's, like, that much left on the bed. So I went and I sat up there, and, like, it was, like, okay. And I was, like, right next to him. So, and his hand, like, somehow, like, under my leg, and then somehow, like, 10 minutes later, his hand had been, like, on my leg, you know. But, like, we couldn't let my brother see, because he was right next to us, and that would just be weird if he knew, like. So it was just, like, under our blanket. And then, like, it somehow, okay, so I got up, because, like, the remote dropped. And my brother's like, oh, get up and get out of the bed. It's my bed now. I was like, fine, I'll go sleep in your bed, because my brother's bed's bigger than mine. And I was like, I'm going to go sleep in your bed. He's like, okay, fine, I don't care. But that was just a joke. I was not going to sleep in my brother's bed. That's just, his bed's nasty. And this was, like, just recently when me and my brother are, like, getting closer again, because he went through this really mean phase, you know. And, so then he was, like, right there, and then somehow this boy, his arm, like, ended up around me, and then, like, ended up around my waist. And then, like, so we were sitting, like, shoulder to shoulder, and then our hands somehow, like, ended up like that, but not, like, holding hands. But then him and my brother kept sticking their heads under my brother's big black blanket and being like, ooh, and trying to make up a plan, and they would, like, stick their heads out and, like, smirk and look at me, like, and they kept, like, stealing my phone, and I was like, okay. We had, like, almost held hands at that point, but then, like, they had been in there for a couple hours. We were, like, watching a horror movie, and that was pretty good. Then we put on the show that me and my brother used to watch with my sister, and we were, like, laughing, because, like, he didn't know what it was, but it was, like, scary, you know, Just That Magic, if you guys ever heard of it. And we were, like, watching a horror movie too, and then they eventually left at, like, 2:30 in the morning, I don't know, but they had been in there for, like, 3 or 4 hours. So that had all happened, and it was like, but my brother didn't know, right? Until the other day, I was hanging out with my brother in his room, and he's like, oh, I know you tried to hold that kid's, you know, that boy's hand. And I was like, oh, because I wasn't the one like trying to, we didn't actually hold hands. We almost did though. And I was like, that was not me who tried to do all that. Because that was the last part that happened. Before that happened, all the other stuff happened. Like all the him putting his arm around me and stuff. And all that stuff. And him touching my leg and stuff. And I was like, oh, I can't believe he told my brother that. Because I knew like a couple weeks or maybe just a week after that happened, I knew he had started dating a girl that he said he liked. And they kept bringing her up when they were like, sitting on my floor, and I was sitting on my bed. I was just like, whatever. So I could tell like he was blaming me. He's like, oh, your sister tried to do that to me and it was weird, so I wanted to leave. Even though that's not what happened. So then I ended up having to tell my brother what actually happened, which was kind of embarrassing because I didn't want my brother to know. And then we had texted each other after, and we were like snapping after when they were both in my brother's room. And then he's like, okay, don't tell anyone. I was like, okay, I won't. You don't either. But I guess he told my brother that. And then, so then I had to tell my brother. He's like, oh, I'm going to go confront him about that. I was like, yeah, okay. So he did. I didn't really hear that phone call. I haven't asked him about it yet. But then, and then he's like, oh, wait, that happened that night? And I was like, yeah, that my brother said that. And he's like, wait, what? And then he's like, that, like that boy, he's been dating that girl that he was talking about for like a month before that night happened. Like the night that we did, like, when we were all three right there and we were like watching a horror movie and stuff, and the night that he like put his arm around me and stuff and almost held hands, he, as my brother said, had been dating that girl for like a month before that. And I had no idea. I thought he just like kind of liked her, and I was like, okay, whatever. And she like lived like an hour away, so I was like, whatever. I didn't even think of her in the moment, but they had been dating that whole time and I had no idea. So I was like, what? And then basically, guys, that was just, and he blocked me right after that. I was like, okay, bro, whatever. And I like asked my brother about it, and he eventually told me. But yeah, that's it.
Bro, this is story time how I never will, never have, and never freaking did like my mother's sister. So, mind you, I never met this lady a day in my life. She literally disappeared 15 years ago. This is the same age, mind you, before I was born, though. 15 years ago, came back 15 years later, and had 2 children. They're both boys. One of them's finna be 8. The other one's finna be 6 now. Yeah. So they came and lived with me, my mom, and my stepdad. We lived in a double wide XL trailer, and it was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I had my own bathroom. They had their own bathroom. By they, I mean my mom and my stepdad. So when they came to stay with us, they had to move the living room stuff around. Mind you, they didn't ask my stepdad. Why should they have to ask my stepdad? Because there was not no room for them. Honestly, there really wasn't. The living room was taken up by literally 90% of my mom's plant because she was a plant person. And then the other percent was taken up by a glass table, some fancy ass couches, and a giant TV screen. Okay? It was not that much space in the living room. Especially not for 3 people. But they did so anyway, and they ended up breaking my stepdad's brand new glass table. My dad loves him some luxury stuff. So he considers glass tables luxury. So he bought those a lot, and he would freak out even if it was like a coffee stain on there. But anyway, they moved the table. They put 3 air mattresses right there, and he came home. He was like, what the fuck? Mind you, my stepdad, he really do love watching his TV in front of his brand new recliner. He loved him a recliner. So he was thinking, okay, they're just going to stay like tonight. That's it. No, they stayed there for like a whole month. He was livid because he could not watch TV in there because the children was running around, hollering, screaming, breaking things, running into things, dropping things, do everything. Or they would watch cartoons, and he could never watch his TV in there because my mom, she would always hog the TV that's in the bedroom, and I would have my TV in my bedroom. I'll be watching it because I don't really like people like that, so I never was off there with them. So fast forward to the real main part. When they first moved in, this was like, I feel like it was like during summer because I didn't have school, but I feel like I did have school. I don't know. But anyway, so she took me to her apartment. Yes, they already had an apartment, but they all of a sudden felt like they didn't feel like staying here. So we had to move all their food out the fridges and the freezer and the cabinet and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And we put half their stuff in the storage. I'm thinking they finna throw this food away and go about their day. No, why in the hell? She made me put it in the car. We drive back all the way to my stepdad's house. And mind you, my mom, she's a grocery person. She loves going to grocery shop. So the fridge and the cabinets was always full. Especially when she literally went shopping the day before. It was really full. Why when we get there, I go to my room and I'm laying down because it's like, I already helped you put it in the car. You finna do this yourself. Like, I'm not finna do that with you. I already don't like you. I already have an iffy feeling about you, so I'm not finna do that for you. Like, an hour go by and I hear thumping, do. So I go out my room. Mind you, my room door is like directly, I can see right through the kitchen. Why did this lady take out all the frozen food that my mother just bought and the food that was in the fridge and the cabinets, take it out and sit it on the table? So I come out my room and I'm like, so I didn't call her auntie, but I'm finna say auntie, I don't want to say her name. I said, so auntie, my mom just bought that food and she's gonna be very mad if she come back to this house and all her food that she just bought is perishing on this table and on this floor. She was like, I don't care. I know your mother and your mother's my sister. I understand. She will understand me. I said, okay. I backed up, went back in the room and locked my door. I was like, oh, I'm not a part of it. Why the frick did my mom come home and she was like, Jada? I said, huh? Ooh. I already knew what it was, and I was ready to snitch. I come out of the room, I say, Mom, I didn't do it. Your sister did it. I told her not to do it. She said you wouldn't care. Da. Why in the hell did my mother in fact did not care? I was confused. But if I did that, I would have been tore up from behind in all sides of the house. I was like, it is her sister. So let me calm down. Calm down. No, I didn't. I was really mad. So, like, oh yeah, school started. He just called me, so I had to rush and tell him I'm parked in the same parking lot. Anyway, so weekend, school started, so I do it online. So every morning, my mom, she bought me a giant box of a variety of Pop-Tarts and whatnot. Why the hell I come in that one morning and none of the Pop-Tarts are there? The whole box is in the trash.
Yeah, my mom had bought them Pop-Tarts only for me because I had like a weird finicky issue. I used to be picky about my food. So I remember this was during COVID because I had home, I was schooling from my laptop from home. I had woke up one morning and I would go grab a Pop-Tart like I usually do. Mind you, I barely finished one of the boxes inside the giant variety pack. So this one day I had woke up, I grabbed my laptop, took it to the kitchen table because I wasn't allowed to do that in my room for some reason. I go in the pantry and where my Pop-Tarts, nowhere to be found, but I do see the box laying beside the trash can. So I'm thinking my mom had took the snacks and put them in her room because that's, just in case she don't want them to eat them. You would think, I don't know. So I knock on her door and I say, Ma, can I get a Pop-Tart? She was like, yeah, Jada, you already know you can. I don't know why you asking me. So I was like, okay, where'd you put them? She was like, Jada, in the pantry? What do you mean where I put them? I said, well, they're not in the pantry, so I thought you took them. This lady hopped up out that bed so quick and stumbled to the kitchen and she opened the pantry. They was not there. Mind you, my mom, sister, and the two children are laying down in the living room. The living room and the kitchen is literally right beside each other. If you know how a trailer works, that's exactly how it works. My mom raised hell. I'm talking raised hell. She woke up everybody, started taking blankets off people, and she was like, where's my baby's Pop-Tarts? The aunt was like, my baby's ate them. Is there an issue? Why you say that to my mother? She finna whoop your ass now. My mom went off, as she should, because who was you talking to? My mom was like, well, they wasn't for your children, it was for my baby. I already told you what to eat, what not to eat, because they're for her and not for everybody. I don't even eat those. My husband don't even eat those. Whoop. Don was like, I don't care what you eat and what you don't eat. I don't care what you say for your daughter. I don't care about none of that. Bruh, my mom drugged this lady off the air mattress she was on and stood over her and said, you don't care about what? That lady was scared to her bones. But anyway, they was arguing back and forth how siblings do. And then my mom had took me to the store and got me a different type of Pop-Tarts and told me to keep them in my room and in my room only. Don't let nobody eat them. So that's what I did because I didn't want nobody to eat my stuff anyway. More issues started adding up, such as I had my own bathroom in my room. And one night I woke up in the middle of the night and I had to use the bathroom. So I walk in my bathroom and I step on the mat and it's straight piss. Yes, it's piss. Why? Because I smelt it. It was very wet. So the next morning I went to go to my mom and my mom was like, well, tell them not to use the bathroom no more. Come in here and use this bathroom. So that's what I did. I told them, hey, my mom said you can't use my bathroom no more because you keep peeing on the floor. You don't know how to pee in the toilet like a little boy's supposed to. They kept doing it. They kept pissing directly on my mat. So I told my mom again. She said, well, from now on, start locking your door every time you go in there because obviously they're not going to stop. So go ahead. Mind you, my mom's that type of person that like locks doors, especially when it's between her daughter and her. She don't like that. But this time she had to make an exception because they was not trying to listen. So that's what I did. Mind you, this was the exact same time I had left my mom's room after she told me that. I went straight to my room. And like she told me to do is to lock the door after myself. So I had to put the latch on the door because the way our house was on a hill. So the door was going to fly back open. So I had put the latch on the door. And I kid you not, before the latch even settled down in the hole, why did my aunt come through the damn door busting through that shit? She busted through the door and tackled me on the bed. I was lost. Mind you, it's little on me versus looks like a 250-pound bitch. So I screamed my mom. My mom comes in the room and she's like, what's going on? And she's like manhandling her sister off of me. And I tell her what's going on. And then the sister's like, no, your daughter's being very disrespectful. She sat here and locked the door dead in my kid's face, saying that they can't come in here and use a bathroom no more. Yeah, I heard y'all conversation. Y'all weird, y'all funny acting. My mom was like, well, I've been telling you to tell your kids to stop pissing on her floor. I've been telling you to at least help around. You don't want to do that. I've been telling you to stop eating things that don't belong to you in this house. I've been telling you this, I've been telling you that. So this is a very, very small issue. Why this lady and my mom going back and forth? All right, cool. The next day, basically the morning, I pretended like I sleep because like sometimes I really don't like being bothered in the morning. Like I said, I'm not a morning person. I hear a lot of commotion at my door and I'm like, what is that? So like I open my listening ears and apparently my sister's mom, not my sister's mom, my mom's sister shaved her head. Bald. She was like, it's all because of Jada. She stressed me out. I stressed her out in my own house when she did the things she did. Okay. She said, it's all because of Jada. She's stressing me out. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And then she left. So after she left or not, she didn't bring all her stuff with her. She only took a couple things and then left the main big things in there, like a big old 2 totes of clothes and then all 3 of the air mattresses. So I hear a car in the driveway and I think it's my stepdad getting off early, but it was not. It was her bald-headed ass. So I go back in my room and I lock the door and pretend like I'm not there. So then I really do hear my stepdad pulling up because he pulls up and he knocks on my door and I open the door and he's whispering to me, what is she doing here? Did she leave? Why is she back? And I was like, I don't know. Won't you go ask her? You're the adult. He was like, I kind of don't know. Ask that big bitch. She's big as fuck. Why are you bigger than a man? And then he finally went to go ask her. And then she got all defensive saying, well, if I want to stay here, I can stay wherever I want to stay. Mom, wherever my sister is, I'm going to go. He came back in my room and was like, I thought she disappeared for 15 years. What does she mean by that? I was like, I don't know. That lady's crazy. Don't involve yourself. So yeah, that's how that went. So then he was like, do you want to go out and about with me? I was like, yeah, obviously. I don't want to stay here all day. So I'm literally putting my shoes on to go. Why do I hear 2 voices? It's both the little children. And so me and my stepdad were looking at her and the children like, what's going on here? Are they helping you gather stuff? Like, I'm confused. She was like, no, my children don't really have nowhere to stay now that y'all kicked me out. So they're going to stay here until further notice. So me and my stepdad looked at each other like, so we're not going out no more? No, guess not. All right. So we had to stay at the house until my mother came back so we could go out. And then when my mom came back, she was confused on why they were still there. I was confused too. So she tried to call her sister many times, but her sister wasn't answering. So she used my phone to call her and she wasn't answering. So she used my stepdad's phone to call and didn't answer. So finally she asked the children where their mother was. And they was like, I don't know. They don't know nothing. Don't even know why she asked them. It's not a child's place, especially for their age. What they gonna know? So like 2 days pass and the bald-headed lady decides to come back and she decides to spend the night too. Whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. Look at us. Big, giant, happy family. So they ended up breaking my stepfather's glass table. And me and my mom tried to hide it. That didn't go well because he found it as soon as he walked in the house and he was livid. So we, all 3 of us, me, my mom, and my stepdad had a little family gathering in the room that we locked. And we was like, we got to get the butt out of here. All 3 of them. They got to go. They got to go today. We don't know where they're going to go, but they got to go. So at the time I had a pet cat. I called her Burger. She didn't like neither one of them. And while everybody was asleep, The next morning, we heard like a loud popping sound. Like, you know how cats like to claw on couches? Yeah, they clawed on all, she clawed, was it a he or she? I don't remember. But she clawed on all three of their air mattresses and it popped them all. You know who took the blame for that? Me. You acting like I trained the cat to do that. I couldn't even train the motherfucker to stop scratching me. So my mom's sister started blaming me every single day about how I popped the air mattress with a knife when it clearly was cat scratches on there. But I got the blame for it. Even though my mom didn't believe her, I still got the blame for it because she was not going to let that go. Mind you, I'm like 14 years old. So then here comes my mother's birthday. Woo, woo. So, we all decided to throw my mother a birthday party. So she hasn't had a birthday party thrown for her since her mother passed. So we go to my great grandma's house and we throw it in the backyard. So by the time my mom gets there, whatnot, everybody's cooking out. We cooking on the grill, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So my Nana, she has like a metal screen door. You know how you close it and it makes a loud clank? Yeah, she has one of those for the backyard door. The children kept running in and out, so the door was always clank, 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 clank. And then my Nana got agitated and she was like, "Can you tell the kids stop running inside of this house?" So I went out there and I was like, "What did you need? What did y'all need? What did y'all need? Y'all running in and out of the house." They was like, "Oh, my mom said she wanted me to go get a cup so we could split this water bottle." I was like, "Okay, I'll go get one for you." So I go in the house and then they follow me in the house one by one, clanking the door in and out, in and out, in and out within the time span of 20 seconds. I kid you not. So I said, "Hey, y'all got to stop coming in and out of the house because y'all not closing the door properly. It's clanking and slamming. But here's your cup." I kid you not. Why this big beluga bald-headed bitch walk up to me talking about something? "You're not gonna talk to my kids that way. I don't talk to you that way and I don't let nobody else talk to you that way." Mind you, when I said those things to the children, my mother was right there beside me. My Nana was right there saying, "Yeah, stop closing the door." What do you... And also, this big bald-headed eagle was all the way across the yard. What could you have heard that I said? Because I wasn't loud. So then my Nana was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." She didn't say nothing bad. What's the issue? My mom was just looking because, it's her birthday. So it's like, she's going to be cool, calm, and collected. So the big bald-headed eagle bitch, she started going on to my son. She's so disrespectful. She keep disrespecting my children. Like right now, she just told them, "Shut the fuck up." When did I say that? When? Hello? Everybody looking at this lady like she's crazy. Because she is crazy. She's crazy. So while they arguing, I just storm off and I'll go behind my Nana car because it's like you're trying to ruin my mom's birthday and I'm trying to also not to engage in your ruining this. So I'll go hide behind the car and I calm down. So my mom's best friend pull up and she asked me what's wrong. So I tell her what's wrong. My mom's best friend didn't like that lady either. So when she heard what happened, she went back there and started raising hell against her. Not in front of my mother, but in the house in the back room. So like a couple of minutes later, the bald-headed eagle and her two children come out and I hear crying. It's both of them crying. I'm like, "Why are y'all crying? What did y'all do? I'm confused. What happened? Did you get in trouble?" They just looked at me and just rolled their eyes and kept on walking. I'm like, "Okay, little rat, what did I do?" So the bald-headed eagle come around from behind them and was like, "So you don't like my children? Tell them you don't like my children. What's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing's wrong and I don't not like your children." She was like, "Well, then what's wrong?" I was like, "Nothing's wrong." She was like, "What's wrong then, Jada? What's wrong? Obviously there's something wrong. Do you not like them? Tell them you don't like them." I was like, "Is this bitch for real right now?" I was like, "No, I just don't like you." She was like, so you don't like me, huh? A child don't like an adult. That's crazy." I said, "Yeah, I guess the fuck it is crazy because, bitch, I really hate you." She's like, "Okay, I'm going to tell your mother what you told me and we'll see how, and I'm going to tell her how I'm going to move about life from now on after what you just told me." I was like, "Okay, I don't give a damn. We're still going to have this birthday party with or without you." So she leaves, thank God. So we never see her until like the next day. We had to go back home and then we forgot we left my mother's birthday cake at Nana house. Nobody opened it, nobody, cut it, nobody put the candles in. We just completely forgot because we was having such a great time. We just forgot. So 2 days later we go back to my Nana house, grab the cake. All right, cool. Why when we get back to the house, that bald-headed eagle bitch shows up again? The devil just keep coming back and back and back. So, I'm keeping it cordial because my mom invited them over so they could all cut her cake with her. So that's what happened. We all cut the cake. I took a piece of cake and I went in my room, ate it, and went to sleep. 3 days go by. I'm not really a cake person. My mom's not really a cake person, but I was really craving cake for some reason today. So I'm gonna go into my mom's room and ask her for a slice of cake. She was like, yeah. So I go in the fridge. Mind you, it's nighttime. I go in the fridge and I take the cake out and I said, ooh, what? Ooh, why the cake look like this? The cake looked played in. I'm talking the icing was like mushed everywhere. I'm not talking like lightly. I'm talking like you just took your hand and said, all on the cake. So I went back in the room, my mom's room, and I told her why your cake looked infected. She was confused. She got up and she lit the cake and she went off. So apparently my mom's sister let her children play in the cake. She told them to do so. So my mom been trying to call this lady over and over and over and over and over. She called her 82 times. Yes, I remember, because she made me spam call this lady also. And she did not answer the phone call. So then come to find out, she had blocked my mother. So we had a whole family calling her and she blocked everybody. So come to find out, this lady did a lot of things. Part 3. Nah, I don't feel like doing that. So we're going to keep talking about it. This lady had ended up piling up criminal charges against herself. Like, she did a hit and run with a cop car. She resisting police arrest, and then theft of a car, and then kidnapping of 2 children. And then she decided to get not locked up, but turn herself in on my birthday at 1 a.m. You know how long I've been hearing about that? My mother did never let that go. What did I do?
Am I wrong for walking out on a blind date my friend set up 2 weeks after my husband died? I just really need some clarity on the situation. I, 23 female, lost my husband, 25 male, weeks ago to a car accident. He was the love of my life, and I'm still not used to waking up without him every day. We have big plans for our future, and it all came crashing down in a heartbeat. We met on his uncle's farm. He was a farmhand, and it was love at first sight for me. I'm also 4 months pregnant, but I haven't told anyone. I was planning on telling my friend when I was feeling better. My best friend Lay, 24 female, has been my shoulder to cry on during this time. She helped me with his funeral and anything else I needed, as I'm no contact with my bio family. Story for another time. She is currently dating Barry, 24 male. They usually hang out in a trio with Liam, 24 male. When I first met Liam, he hit on me hard. He tried everything, flirting constantly, comparing himself to my husband, and even saying weird things like, our kids would be way cuter than yours and your husband's. He's also made weird comments like, I need a city boy, and would motion himself, when I'm a country girl through and through. I typically would shut him down or ignore him, but I would always get dirty looks from Barry. Skip to Sunday night, I got a message from Lay begging me to come to dinner with her because she wanted to treat me, as I had been through a lot in the last couple of weeks. Feeling not so shit about myself, I decided to go. When I arrived, she wasn't there, so I texted her how long she would be, and she told me 5 minutes. She's just running late and is around the corner. So I sat down and ordered a drink. Now 5 minutes comes and she's still not there. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt and waited another 5 minutes. When I'm about to call, Liam comes rushing over and gives his apologies for being late. I asked him what he's doing here because I'm waiting for Lay, and it was a 2-chair table. He smiles at me and grabs my hand. I ripped it off of him and he just says, oh, I asked Lay to set us up now that your husband's name isn't a problem. We can finally get to know each other. He looked so cringy, and I'm telling you, I was floored. I stood up and told him that I wasn't interested, and I certainly don't give a flying fuck about getting to know him, and that I just lost my husband. Without a word of a lie, this man stands up and said, I know you're being overly emotional right now, so I'll forgive you for that. Sit down with me. I'm not saying we have to have sex straight away or anything. I was disgusted. I shoved past him and went home as fast as I could. When I did get home, Lay messaged me, so how was dinner, with a smirk emoji. I called her, and when she answered, I didn't let her get a word in. I yelled at her and asked her how she had the audacity to do something like this, weeks after I just lost my husband, when she's been the one to hold me together this whole time. I asked her what fucking game was she playing, and the only reason I wanted to meet tonight with her was to tell her I'm pregnant. I just hung up on her and texted her, I need time and don't want to be contacted by her for the time being. Last night, Barry came to my house and asked to talk. I said no, and that if he didn't leave, I'd call the police. He told me that I broke Lay's heart and that I am deeply— Oh, boo! Cry me a river! He told me that I broke Lay's heart and that I deeply hurt Liam. When now, an even better time to get to know Liam because he could raise my child with me. I opened my door, which Barry took as I wanted to talk. Instead, I hit him with my shoes and chased him to the car screaming. I'm actually embarrassed I did that. All day today, I'm being flooded with messages from friends and the trio themselves shaming me for pushing the people who care about me the most away and that they don't even recognize the person I've become. The only thing that hurts most is that my husband would know what to do. He would tell me how to fix it, and now I have no one who I can talk to. I'm just so numb inside. I have a therapy appointment tomorrow, but I'm thinking of calling my husband's mom, even though we've barely spoken since the funeral. Any advice is appreciated.